In the world of wars and conflicts, we are accustomed to battles lasting days, months, or even years. But what if I told you about a war that lasted less than an hour? A war not only recorded in history books, but officially classified as the shortest war of all time. On the morning of August 27th, in the year 1896, a confrontation erupted between the British Empire and the Sultanate of Zanzibar. It was no evenly matched battle. Within just 38 minutes, the conflict was over, and Zanzibar fell entirely under British control. But how did it all begin? Why did this fleeting war break out? Was there any hope for the Zanzibaris to resist the mighty empire? And what made this war etch itself into the annals of history as the fastest war in modern times? On the 27th of August, in the year 1896, the atmosphere in Zanzibar was hot and charged with tension. Following the sudden death of Sultan Hamad bin Thuwaini, events escalated rapidly and unexpectedly when Khalid bin Bargash declared himself the new Sultan of Zanzibar without the approval of the British, who controlled the island as part of their colonial influence in the region. The British considered this act a direct threat to their interests and issued an ultimatum to the new Sultan, demanding that he lower the Zanzibari flag and surrender the Sultan's palace by 9 o'clock in the morning on the following day. However, Khalid bin Bargash refused to submit and decided to resist the British Empire, despite his forces being vastly inferior compared to the powerful British fleet. At that time, Zanzibar was ruled by Arab sultans who had managed to maintain relative independence despite the strong British influence in the area. Sultan Hamad bin Thuwaini was an ally of the British, regarded as a trustworthy figure they could work with. But his sudden death on the 26th of August, in the year 1896, created a significant power vacuum and sparked a struggle over who would assume the throne. Khalid bin Bargash, one of the local princes, seized the opportunity to claim the throne without seeking British approval. This decision infuriated British officials as they were looking to install someone more loyal to their interests, namely Sultan Hamud bin Muhammad, known for his unwavering allegiance to the British Empire. However, Khalid bin Bargash refused to comply with British demands, asserting himself as the legitimate Sultan of Zanzibar. This defiance led to a swift escalation of tensions, prompting Britain to decide on using military force to achieve its objectives. When the deadline at 9 o'clock in the morning on the 28th expired, British forces began preparing for the attack. British warships were already stationed in Zanzibar's harbor, equipped with heavy artillery and advanced weaponry far superior to anything the Zanzibari forces possessed. On his part, Khalid bin Bargash attempted to bolster his defenses within the Sultan's palace, ordering the gathering of local soldiers and loyal fighters. Yet these troops were poorly trained and ill-prepared to face a global military power like the British Army. Moreover, the Sultan's palace itself was never designed as a military fortress. It was merely a royal building with rudimentary defensive features. At exactly 9 o'clock in the morning on the 28th, after the deadline passed without compliance, British cannons aboard their warships began bombarding the Sultan's palace with deafening blasts. The attack was fierce and direct, targeting the palace primarily, along with other key locations supporting Khalid bin Bargash. Inside the palace, chaos reigned among the Zanzibari forces. The local soldiers lacked experience and training, rendering them incapable of withstanding the intense British bombardment. Within minutes, the palace began collapsing under the weight of the shelling, making it clear that resistance would not last long. After only 38 minutes, the war was over. The Zanzibari forces surrendered after suffering heavy losses, and British artillery ceased firing. This brief period was enough to change Zanzibar's fate forever, as Khalid bin Bargash was deposed and Sultan Hamud bin Muhammad, a loyal ally of the British, was installed as the new ruler. Sultan Hamud bin Muhammad became the new leader of Zanzibar, proving adept at maintaining his relationship with the British and serving their interests. Thanks to his loyalty, British influence persisted in Zanzibar for decades afterward. Despite its brevity, this war left a profound impact on the history of Zanzibar and the entire region. First, it demonstrated how great powers can impose their will on smaller nations through military might. Second, it solidified Britain's dominance over the area, ensuring that Zanzibar became an integral part of British colonial influence in East Africa. Additionally, this war has become a symbol of the strange and unusual in history, often discussed today as the shortest war in history. Despite its short duration, it was filled with events and details worthy of study and analysis. Through this war, several lessons can be drawn regarding international politics and relations between nations. First, we see the importance of balancing military power, where weaker states are often vulnerable to pressure from stronger ones. Second, we observe how reliance on foreign allies can lead to the loss of sovereignty and national independence. Finally, this war reminds us that history is full of peculiar and fascinating events, which may appear simple or brief on the surface, but carry deep implications for the future of nations and peoples. The shortest war in history, lasting just 38 minutes, was more than just a military clash between two nations. It was a powerful message from Britain to the entire world, affirming its control and influence during that era. Despite its brevity, it remains one of the strangest and most famous wars in history, deserving to be studied and understood from every possible angle.